Viral hepatitis. It's a huge health issue all around the globe. But here's the good news. Prevention is by far our most powerful weapon against it. And you know what? It's more accessible than you might think. So, let's jump right in and unpack the playbook for stopping these viruses dead in their tracks. So let's start with a bit of a puzzle. How can a virus that for most people is just a temporary illness suddenly become a life or death crisis for somebody else? What makes that switch flip? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. And that question brings us to our first really critical scenario, hepatitis E. Now, for most of us, getting hepatitis E means a short, acute infection that your body handles. But if you're a pregnant woman, the story changes completely and it becomes incredibly dangerous. Okay, let this sink in for a second. We're not talking about a minor complication here. A hepatitis E infection during pregnancy is a full-blown medical emergency. The mortality rates for both the mother and the fetus are alarmingly high. So the big question is, why? What is going on here?
Well, the science behind it points to a kind of perfect storm. First, the massive hormonal shifts during pregnancy actually change how the immune system works. Second, that leads to what's called an altered cytokine response. Basically, the body's alarm system goes haywire, which can cause way more damage to the liver. And finally, all of this creates the perfect environment for the virus to just replicate like crazy.
So once you understand a risk that intense for just one person, it forces you to zoom out and think bigger, right? How do we stop a virus like hepatitis E that spreads so easily from tearing through an entire community? How do we protect everyone, especially the most vulnerable?
The strategy is actually pretty simple in concept. Both hepatitis A and E are fecal-oral viruses, meaning they spread through contaminated water or food. So the game plan isn't about chasing down every single case. No, it's about breaking that chain of transmission, stopping the virus from getting to the next person in the first place.
And this is our first line of defense. It's all about controlling the environment. Step 1, you have to secure the water. That means providing water that's been boiled or chlorinated. It's absolutely non-negotiable. Step 2, sanitation. You've got to fix any sewage leaks and make sure waste is being disposed of safely. And step 3, hygiene. Something as simple as strict hand washing becomes one of the most powerful public health tools we have.
And you know, the real power of these environmental controls is that they're proactive. We're not just reacting to people getting sick, we are dismantling the virus's ability to even spread. By getting a handle on the environment, you prevent thousands of new infections from ever even happening. It's prevention on a massive scale.
Okay, so that's the big picture, the community-level stuff. But now let's zoom right back into the individual. Beyond keeping our environment clean, how do we protect our own bodies directly? Well, this is where the amazing science of immunity comes into play.
Now, the key term here is immunoprophylaxis. I know, it sounds super complex, but it's really just the official name for using our immune system as a personal shield. And we can do this in two very different ways. This is such a cool and crucial concept. Let's break it down. Active immunity is what you get from a vaccine. It's like teaching your body to build its own antibody factory. It takes a little time to set up, but once it's running, you have long-term protection. Passive immunity, on the other hand, is like getting a special delivery. You're given pre-made antibodies, immunoglobulins, for immediate, right-now protection, but it's temporary. So one builds the factory, the other just delivers the goods.
And this quote just nails how these two strategies can work together, especially for something like hepatitis B. Imagine someone gets exposed. You give them something called HBIG. That's the hepatitis B immunoglobulin. That's the instant passive shield. But at the same time, you start the vaccine series to get their body to build its own long-lasting active immunity. It is a brilliant 1-2 punch.
All right, so we've looked at the dangers, the community-wide controls, and the science of personal immunity. So let's pull it all together into a clear, simple prevention playbook. What are the absolute must-know takeaways here?
It really all boils down to these 4 pillars. First up, sanitation. Safe drinking water and proper sewage disposal. That's the bedrock, especially for viruses like A and E. Second, hygiene. Good old rigorous hand washing is still one of our best weapons for breaking the chain. Third, immunization. This is all about getting vaccinated for hepatitis A and B to build up that long-term active defense. And finally, blood safety, which is absolutely critical for preventing blood-borne viruses like B and C through screening and sterile practices.
So at the end of the day, the playbook is pretty clear, and the science is solid. Prevention is, without a doubt, our best and most powerful defense against viral hepatitis.
Which really just leaves us with one final crucial question to chew on. Knowing everything we know, are we truly doing enough to put this playbook into action and protect the people who need it the most?